enough though, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, we actually got the minutes of the Fluoridation Public Water Committee. And so what they've been talking about for the last 15 years, absolute juicy stuff in there. If you want a really interesting read, go onto our website and read them. They're all there. They're actually in the open. The last ones we got was when they just found out we'd done this Freedom of Information Act request, and they actually said we'd better be careful what we say in the future, which is rather revealing. But interesting enough, back in, I think it was around 2000, one of their meetings, somebody raised the subject. Things have moved on a lot since 1966. Perhaps Parliament should have a look at this. And their colleagues very quickly said, no, let's not advise the Minister that we have a parliamentary review into this. And that was that. That was, what, 13 years ago now. Things have moved on a lot since then as well, but there's no indication they want any kind of public debate on this. So it will keep going until we can get rid of them. So, the precautionary principle, and this is absolutely key. The burden of proof that it is not harmful falls on those who are taking action. So the burden of proof falls upon the Fluoridation Committee and the Department of Health to prove that there is no harmful effects of this. Fluoride's effect is topical, not systemic. Now what does that mean? That means by brushing your teeth, that works. By drinking it, going into your system, it doesn't have much effect. So therefore, why are we putting it in our drinking water? We brush our teeth, it makes logical sense. And what's it say in your toothpaste? Do not swallow, spit it out. For good reason, it's a toxic substance, and yet it's going into your water supply, going straight past your teeth and into your body, and obviously affecting now your soft tissues. So why do it if the benefit is topical, not systemic? And the other one that they will always question is, well, look at dental decay rates. They're so much better nowadays than they were in the past. And yet, if you look at this stats from the World Health Organization, there's Australia's line going down, and it's quite impressive improvement in dental decay. But then look at the rest of the world. We've got to remember, most of the world does not do this. And all those other unfluoridated countries, their tooth decay rates have gone down the same speed. Why is that? It's because they've got better dental education now in place, just as we have, which advises people to brush their teeth. Don't drink so many sugary drinks. Go and see your dentist twice a year. That's why their stats are exactly the same as ours. And that one went a little bit fast. Now this is very, very important. This has never actually been tested in a proper clinical trial. You're all guinea pigs at the moment. A proper randomised trial will have three different groups of people. A group of people who are being medicated with the medicine, a group of people who are being medicated with a placebo that has no effect, only psychological, and a group of people who are not being medicated at all. As it's in our water supply, effectively you cannot do that because, let's face it, it's virtually impossible to opt out to be medicated in this way. In WA, and in fact anywhere in the world, there has not been a randomised trial to actually prove the effectiveness of this, which is a little bit ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, it's not saying you would put paracetamol in the water supply because some people have headaches, or statins in the water supply because some people have high blood pressure. So why are we putting the medication in the water supply? This is the only thing that is put in your water supply purely for medication. Nothing else. No other benefit from it. So, it does not reduce the number of decayed, missing, or filled teeth. And this is the stat that they will often use, DMFT, decayed, missing teeth. So how many teeth are we talking about in your mouth? Well, your mouth, standard mouth, will have 128 tooth surfaces. Think about it, the front, the back, the sides, the bottom. That's a lot of tooth surfaces. So how much statistical benefit are we talking about from having fluoride in your water supply? Well, actually very little, and this is a bit of a problem. to speed this presentation up somehow. I'm cranking up. So, statistical benefits, when you actually look at the stats of how many teeth have been affected, is 0.6 of a tooth surface benefit by fluoridating the water. 0.6. Now this will be presented officially as a 60% benefit. 60% better off by having your water fluoridated. But actually, this whole argument is about 0.6 of a tooth surface. I mean, how ridiculous is that? This whole argument, this is why they're doing it. 0.6 of benefit. 0.6 of tooth surface benefit. And those stats up the top there are from Ireland. And in Ireland is probably about the only true test case we can have for what the difference is between fluoridated and unfluoridated populations. Because Northern Ireland, they're not fluoridated. Southern Ireland, they are fluoridated. So largely the same population and the same water sources, albeit one's fluoridated. As you can see, those stats, very, very little difference. That's how many tooth surfaces have got any kind of decay, missing, or filled. And in Australia, when they have done studies, they found even smaller statistical benefit. So it is absolutely bonkers. We're going to all this effort for 0.6 of a tooth surface benefit. Let's say 0.6 of a tooth surface. Really, is that worth it? Now, one of the key arguments that's used on why you fluoridate is it helps people in poor communities. But when you actually break down the statistics, it actually doesn't. And the problem is that there is no opt-out here. You cannot opt out of fluoridation. Everybody's drinking this. Now, if there are issues in poor communities, not enough dental access to dentists, not enough education, let's invest in those areas. Let's not medicate the entire population. It seems a bit of a scattergun approach. And when you look at the countries which have stopped fluoridation, countries like Germany, or cities like Calgary, a sister city of Perth in Canada, it's a resources city, very similar to ours. They stopped fluoridation over a year ago. Their tooth decay rates kept going down, in line with everywhere else, because it hasn't made a spot of difference. They've just reinvested that money they've saved into proper dental systems. As you can see, most of the world does not do this. Less than 5% of the world population is fluoridated. Most of the world does not. And in fact, the really sad part is Australia and all the few large countries in the world which do this has the highest proportion of population fluoridated, and WA has the highest proportion in Australia. 95% of our population is fluoridated. So we are absolutely the laughing stock of the rest of the world here. Now, dental fluorosis. If you look around, you'll often see people with slight mottling of their teeth, slight discoloration. This is dental fluorosis. It is caused purely by an overdose of fluoride in your diet, purely and simply. But imagine, what is the tooth? The tooth is just an extension of your skeletal system. So if that is happening to your tooth, what is happening inside your body? What's happening to your skeleton? What's happening to your soft tissues? This is the canary in the coal mine that people are ignoring. Now, this is what is described as a very mild dental fluorosis looks like. Impacts 25% of the teeth. 40% of US teenagers are suffering from this. Now, when this study came out 18 months ago, US authorities immediately put in play a legislation to reduce their fluoride levels from over 1 to 1.2 parts per million, which is what it had been, very similar to ours, down to 0.7. Now, here in Perth, we're about 0.9 to 1 part per million. It doesn't sound like much, but then again, 1 part per million of arsenic doesn't sound like much either, it'll still kill you. So, very, very important that the Americans saw this data and reduced their fluoridation rates considerably, and a lot of American communities have actually been now taken out of their water completely. The health authorities, however, just say this is cosmetic. This is just a cosmetic thing, it's not a problem, don't worry about it. As I said before, it's happening to your outside the teeth, what's happening inside your body? You're drinking this after all. But more importantly, if you're a teenager and you have those teeth, You're going to think that's cosmetic? I think it'd be a little bit more than just cosmetic. If I was a teenager, I'd be pretty damn embarrassed by it and wouldn't want to smile, which is going to affect my confidence and how I go about my life. So 12% of American teenagers have that. And that's severe fluorosis. Also moderate. That's only moderate.
We're not showing severe.
No, we're not sure. They don't want to scare you all off. So 3.6%. Now we have no data on what's happening here in Australia. But I know, talking to many people here today, they themselves are suffering it or their kids are suffering from it. So it is happening here, having the same amount of fluoride in the diet. So, and this is absolutely crucial. The health authorities say this is an essential nutrient. Well, I can assure you there's not one study out there which would say if you did not have fluoride in your diet, you would die. Therefore, it is not an essential nutrient. Its only benefit is, as they want to put, that it's for your teeth. So, come back to that. And this is the argument they'll often use, is it's a nutrient, is not medication. Well, I would argue that it is medication. So put it in the water, medicate you for the benefit of the teeth. So clearly it is not a nutrient. As it says there, you all have perfect good teeth without it. And this is crucial. Remember what I said, 0.7 to 1 part per million is what we have. Mother's milk contains considerably less than that. So unless Mother Nature has got it completely wrong, what's going on there? Why are we creating this issue where nature has felt it wasn't an issue beforehand? The problem is it's not just coming in your drinking water. Back when they brought this in, pretty much that was it. But let's think about what happens with your drinking water. Well, you're going to be washing your fruit and veg in it. Processed foods are going to have been made with fluoridated water. Nuts and berries naturally have it. Your toothpaste, you're going to swallow a little bit of your toothpaste, and kids will swallow a lot of their toothpaste. Your coffee, and that's outrageous, coffee is fluoridated. Meats that have been processed will have it. Your beer, I mean, how un-Australian is that? Medicating your beer. And wine. And this is a bit of an important one as well, the wine. Because at the moment, one of the few communities in WA which is not medicated is Margaret River. And 6 years ago, the Fluoridation of the Public Water Committee decided they wanted to fluoridate Margaret River. And they did a consultation, as they put it, which involved a tiny little notice in one of the local newspapers down there, and a meeting which they did not publicise very well 2 months later, which nobody turned up to, surprisingly enough. As a result, in their minutes, they go, nobody in Margaret River minds about being medicated, there's no protest, therefore we're going to continue on the path of fluoridating Margaret River's water. Now, when Margaret River gets fluoridated, of course, your wine starts getting fluoridated as well. And again, that's very un-Australian. But more importantly, it comes back to the tactics they use. They don't want to publicise this. Yes, they put it into the public domain. They mentioned it in the newspaper a couple of months before, then it goes quiet. If nobody complains, it will go through. Now, the people of Carnarvon got wind that they were on the target list. And they started a campaign, and they got their local member, Vincent Tunnion, to go to Kim Haines and protest, and they got campaign groups and petitions, and they backed down. The health department backed down on fluoridation of Carnarvon water for the time being. But their mandate is very much they have to medicate everybody. So they will be back for another go, just as they're trying with Bunbury again now, when they got beaten back 12 years ago. But if we don't get a start campaign in Margaret River very, very soon, get people protesting Margaret River and complaining, it's going to happen down there. Just soft drinks, that's the classic aside. Again, the minutes of the committee, one of the things they said about Bunbury when they were forced back in 2000 was, oh yes, well, there are other sources of fluoride in people with Bunbury's diets, including Pepsi Cola, which has 0.85 milligrams per litre in it. Well, I can assure you, no matter how much fluoride is in your Pepsi Cola, your teeth will still fall out. It won't make a spot difference. This is the rationale behind the group which is trying to fluoridate the whole population here. That, oh, it's okay, Pepsi's got fluoride in it, so unbelievable. And of course, your drinking water. So it's not just you're getting fluoride down your diet for your drinking water, but it's also getting from lots of other sources as well because of the effect that water will have,